Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another interesting episode. Today, we want to touch on the topic of career choices and connect it back to mental health. But before I introduce myself or my team, I want to ask you guys, as my viewers, some few questions. Are you really happy with your job? Is Monday or work day something that you look forward to? Or are you only doing it to pay the bills? And if you're a student, the current career that you're pursuing, was it your first choice? Was it your parents' first choice? Or is just what the government has allocated it for you through regular program and you realize you have no choice but to pursue it? So as you think about that, I'll introduce myself and then let my team introduce themselves. My name is Abshukri and I have a background of finance and investment. I'm also a clinical psychologist and have worked around 6 years in the humanitarian world and also 3 years in the corporate world, and currently I'm an entrepreneur.
Hi everyone, my name is Munira Hassan, also known as Aisha Hassan. I'm a counseling psychologist by profession. I have 4 years of experience in the humanitarian world and also the corporate world as a real estate sales and marketer. And at the same time, I've also been able to work with organizations, hospitals, in different fields, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Zakaria Abdurrahman Mohammed. Professionally, I have a background in Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Physics. And I'm also a clinical psychologist, over 3 years of experience right now. And I'm also a part-time teacher. I've been teaching for the last 6 years and making math easy for students. That's me.
So since today I want us to talk about career choices and connect it back to mental health, I would love us to begin by talking about why is it important for us to have this conversation today? Why do we really need to talk about mental health? Or why do we need to talk about career choices? And how are the two related? Can I start with you, Munira?
Yes.
Okay.
When it comes to mental health, every time we look back at mental health, we are looking at from a perspective of, am I fulfilled with my life? Am I fulfilled with the things that I do? Am I fulfilled with my personal life? Am I fulfilled with even the purpose that I have on this world? So when we talk about career choices or career in total, we are looking at, am I fulfilling my purpose in life? And at the same time as I am fulfilling my purpose in life, am I content with where I am?
Okay. So before I come to you, Zakaria, maybe I will add just one point. As human beings, we usually operate within a continuum of emotions. So, and career is one of the things, it's part of our identity, and it plays a huge role in who we are. So when career is actually one of the aspects in your life that is contributing to you being stressed, to you being anxious, then definitely it affects your mental health. So I think it's really important for us to talk about career choices and how this is related to mental health.
I would say the way Aisha said, most of the things that when you are choosing a career, it's like, it will come back to that part of, is it fulfilling my purpose in life? But for me, I will just take in two ways, as someone who is pursuing right now a certain career, or someone who has already pursued it. In one way, if you are a student, this career you are pursuing, is it giving you professional growth? If it's not giving you professional growth, most probably it's going to come back to your mental health. And it will bring some mental illness issues later in life. Okay. And also for the person who has already went into a career or is planning to do this career, at the end of the day, he have to consider, will it give him a life satisfaction? Will it give him or her a career, a work-life balance? All those things. If it doesn't suit all those things or it doesn't answer all those thoughts, then it means it can affect you in certain way and it can compromise your mental health.
So on this second point, I want us to touch on what are some of the factors that influence career choices, and I'll go to Zakaria to start with this conversation.
I think one of the factors that can influence career choice is the person's passion. The kind of passion you have in life, or what you like, or what you love to do most of the time, have an influence on how you choose a career. For example, someone who loves humanitarian work, for example, he never joined university, just finished high school, for example, have been just volunteering some places, and he likes working with people, and he feels satisfaction in helping people, for example. Such kind of person may be pulled to do a career that's related with working with people, for example, like social work, for example, like a doctor or a lawyer. And also there are people who are interested in things to do with they are indoor, they like to do to be on their laptop, for example, most of the time, and do some kind of project. Such kind of people may be interested with things to do with career that are related to dealing with technology, for example. And the other thing is the extrinsic motivation that someone can have. Such kind, it's like family relation. For example, you may come from a family of doctors, and one way or another, because the way your family members, like your father, your brother, your elder sister, the way they do things, you just loved it, and you value yourself that if I do such kind of career, there's a kind of personal fulfillment I feel in my life. So maybe you'll let us see yourself that you are pulled in that direction.
To add on it, we normally choose careers just because of two things. The fact that we want to have a purpose in life, and the fact that we want to also belong in our society. Every moment that you live, you will choose a career that will either bring you money for you to belong in that community or in that place, or a purpose. There's something that you want to change in this life. So when you are choosing a career, what is the thing that you're choosing? Is it because of your passion? Is it because of a purpose that you have? Or is it because of a belonging that you want to fit in?
So to add on what my colleagues have just stated, another thing that usually affects career choices is what is the in thing. When usually someone is finishing high school and they come to you for like advice, and they're like, hey, what do I need to do? Most of the time, the advice is based on what's the in thing. Like currently, something that's the in thing is technology. So most of the time when someone comes to you and asks you for career advice, what we tell them is like, go do data science, go do software engineering, like go do social media management, go do podcast content creator or podcast host or something like that, the in thing. So I think that's also another thing that usually affects career choices. But we move forward, and I want us to touch on another aspect in relation to how is it important for us to find ourselves in the right career spaces? How does it affect us as individuals, and why is it important for us to find ourselves in the right career spaces? And I will go to Munira for that one.
So as we talked about the importance of careers, we mentioned that career is as important as having children, maybe even starting a family, and all that. It's always part of why, or the things that add up to life's expectancy and satisfaction. When we talk about the importance of having a good career choice, first of all, it makes part of your life easier. We all desire from our careers, first of all, money. We desire belonging. We desire good work-life balance. We desire to be able to fulfill all our dreams from also our careers. Mm-hmm. So as we speak about it and as we go about it, every time you have a good career choice, you're able to actually tick a box known as self-esteem booster. So when we talk about self-esteem booster, it's more of like every time I achieve something, my body automatically gives me dopamine. It's the thing that makes me feel I have achieved, I have a purpose, I am in the right track. But when you don't have that, you look for ways that you can go achieve that dopamine. And most of the time you'll achieve it using drug and substance abuse. And what happens with drug and substance abuse, it doesn't make you have a fulfilled life. It doesn't make you find yourself in a position whereby you are happy. Most of the time people with drug and substance abuse have hangovers, extreme mood swings, and that's not the kind of life anyone wants to live. Yes, you want the happy part, but then there's also the part whereby you are overwhelmed and in pain. So a good career choice is whereby you're able to face challenges, but at the same time be happy in it. And as much as you're also facing challenges, you're satisfied. And our main purpose in life and the main emotion people look for is happiness. But at the same time, the main emotion that drives us is contentment and satisfaction. So when you're content and satisfied, what happens? Your life expectancy gets higher and higher.
Part of the importance of choosing career wisely, one of it is it giving you a work-life balance. The kind of career you end up, for example, you should understand, will it give you a balanced life? Later, maybe you become a father, maybe you are a mother, maybe you are someone else in the community. Will you get a chance to interact with your family? Will you get a chance to do your personal thing? But if the career you are ending up is straining you all day, even if you went home, there's something you are working on, there's a project you are working on, it's still the stresses that you left in the working place following you at home. And part of the thing I know from the family perspective, as a mother or as a husband, your responsibility as a mother or father starts the moment you come at home. If the moment you come at home is still the job that you are doing is still following you, it means it's not giving you a work-life balance. And at the end of the day, you will compromise your family. And when you compromise your family, what happens is maybe there's problem with your kids in terms of their education, because you didn't go there as a father figure, you didn't go there as a mother figure. At the end of the day, it will haunt you. Because one of the things I got from a sister who was working in a certain company, I think she dropped. Later she said that, and I asked, it was being paid well, and I asked her, why are you dropping? And one of the things she told me was like, I need to get time for my kids. As much as I'm doing this work, my kids are like insurance company for me. This company, for example, at my 60s or at my 50s, they will give me a retirement. But my kids, even at my 90 years, whatever that will happen to them, it will still just follow me. So it's like, as a father or as a mother, let me invest them. Let me get them time. Let me get for them time as much as I'm working for them. The other thing is, the importance it will give you is, the career choice you are choosing should give you a financial stability. Most of the time they say money is not important, but a lot of money is important. The kind of money that's important for someone else is, the kind of money that is much for someone else may not be much for you. So you don't have to go a career just because it's giving you millions or it's giving you 6 figures. But at the end of the day, that's not your much money, for example. Maybe your much money was something that can satisfy you. So consider it in a way that it can stable the needs, it can make you financially stable, the need that you have. Then you will be mentally healthy at the end of the day, because no work issue or no work related stress that will follow you because of money.
Okay, so one last point maybe I wanted to add on this conversation is career, having the right career actually contributes to who you are. So that means it informs your identity. Imagine from age 5, you started going to kindergarten, all the way, you're in school. For us, we went through 844 system. So you went through the 844 system, you get to university, you choose a certain career, you come out, you work, you still grow, go back to university, do your PhD, do your master's, and you're being called like Dr. somebody or ambassador somebody or professor somebody or engineer somebody. So it really adds to who you are. So finding yourself in the right career and gaining or becoming somebody that you're really proud of is something nice. And I want us to transition into career misalignment. Since we talked about the importance of having the right career choice, what happens if you find yourself in the wrong career choice? So when we talk about career misalignment, we're talking about you finding yourself in a space where you feel like you're not yourself. You feel like you're not enjoying what you're doing. You dread hearing that Monday is coming. By the time it's Sunday evening, you start developing some certain level of of fever, just knowing that tomorrow is Monday and have 5 days to go to work. So trust you me, if you are in that kind of situation, or if you're in that kind of scenario, it really contributes to your emotions, your feelings, your moods. And that is some of the things that really contributes to you developing some stress. And if you don't address the stresses and the stress builds up, That's what leads to either anxiety, that is what leads to depression or other mental illnesses. So as much as we might find ourselves in certain situations or scenarios where we don't have a choice, because you have bills to pay, you have rent, you have school fees, you have food, families are depending on you, maybe you are firstborn coming from a parent or a household of uneducated parents who are depending on you, and now you have your siblings who are also depending on you, so you're like a second parent to them, and then you have your own personal family, unique family, your children, your wife or your husband, who are all depending on you. So you don't have a choice but rather to do what you have to do to provide. But one thing I want to tell you guys is that is not the end of the world, because we usually work 8 hours. On average, most people work 8 hours. There are people who work less than 8 hours. There are people who work more than 8 hours, depending on the career line that you're working in. So what happens when you're not working? What happens when you're not in specifically that job? We have like 24 hours. So if we're sleeping 8 hours and you're working 8 hours, you have 8 hours left. So for me, my personal advice will be how you utilize that 8 hours determine how you get out of the situation that you're currently in. If there's something that you're specifically interested in, that you would love to, like maybe give time, then that is the time, that 8 hours is something that you can utilize to focus on that extra activity, that extra career. Maybe go back to school, take a different course. If that is not a choice, maybe go volunteer in a place that makes you feel happy, that gives you that level of fulfillment, that gives you that level of contentment. One last point I want to add on this career misalignment is you don't have to be happy in the current career choice you're doing. Is it important? It's really important. But is it life and death kind of scenario? Not really. So if you're in a situation where you're not completely happy, try to look for minute things, small things that you enjoy. Is it a work colleague that gives you some level of conducive environment, that gives you a vibe that you can talk to? Is it something within the work that you're doing from 8 to 5 that you find, even if it's just a 30%, that you enjoy, so that you can focus on that? You can shift your focus on that 30% that you enjoy and not necessarily just focus on the 70% that you dread. So that's another way to survive if you're currently in a situation where you don't really enjoy. But I welcome my colleagues to add on to career misalignments and how it affects our daily lives.
Maybe I will add one small thing on what Shukri said, and I will focus on maybe on the students who are now pursuing careers that they don't like, actually. And there's a lot that's happening in the universities because I am part of them and I know what's going on. And because most of us, we are given some careers by the government placement, sometimes you don't have choice, you just be ending there. So what happened is, maybe you cannot drop this course because you don't have someone to pay for you your fees. Maybe you cannot drop because your parents are not kind of educated. Once you drop this one, they may feel that you don't want to study. And for them, convincing that this is not career that I like, or this is a career that's my passion, is very problematic or chaos. One thing I would advise you, there's the way Shukri said, there's a lot of time that actually you guys waste on entertainment, on something else, or you do some personal thing, and most of the time you don't have information and no one is advising you on what to do on your free time. And this is the time I actually also benefited when I used to get a 4-month long holiday. My psychology course that I started in another university, I took advantage of my 4-month holidays. Maybe you'll be getting 4-month holidays 4 times a year, and maybe sometimes you can do an evening classes. All those things can boost you while you are even in here in the same career that you are unable to drop. And maybe sometimes you try all your best, you do interfaculty, you do everything, but the qadarullah cannot work for you. You tried to apply for outside universities, but it didn't work. Sometimes maybe it was planned for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe he knew that there's something that you can bring out of that career that you may not like. The moment you go there, there's a reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also made you to end there after even you try to change it. And can you also consider it even there's something that you can change in this career, or you can be one of the best person that have ever pursued this career? And it takes time. It's not something that comes very easy, to be honest. And the other thing is just the time I was telling you. Take advantage of the free time you have, add courses, do some other certification. And for the people who are in the working sector, who may be having families right now, they are feeding families, they are having kids. For them, starting a career right now is kind of a problem, because they may be looking sometimes the year gap. This is what I will tell you: whether you like it or not, those 4 years that you think it is long will pass you, whether you will be in that career or not, to be honest. So it is you now to figure out on a way you can navigate through the obstacles of family that you have, so that you can pay your fees, so that you can get spare time. In the next 4 years, you will be someone who is a graduate in the specific course that you wanted. By the way, it is now the Muslim community who we are kind of not like the other communities. I've realized, especially people from Western, someone having 3-4 degrees, maybe this person didn't went just for passion. Maybe his first degree was not his passion, the second degree ended up maybe he was being paid by someone and forced him to do this career. But after he got financial stability, he said, this is what I want right now, I can do. So career, and even as I and Abshukri, when we are in our master class, sometimes you hear people coming for the sake of retirement plan. Because this career you are right now, for example, is it a career that will help you in your 80s or 90s, you to do the work at your comfort zone? Or at that time we are vulnerable, that knowledge you cannot be forgetting actually in 90s, or you have the ability to do. So consider also the kind of retirement plan that you can have with a career.
So I know you have already talked about strategies, or on how to survive if you already found ourselves in the wrong career choices, whether we are in the working space already and we are in our 30s, 40s, 50s, or whether we are students and we are just beginning our career journey. But I'll go to Munira if she has any extra tip on how to survive if we have already found ourselves in the wrong career line. Okay, there's no career that is wrong, but let me rather say in a career that we don't really feel fulfilled in.
As you mentioned, there's no career that is wrong. We are all either in careers whereby we want to buy our bread, or we want to feel fulfilled in it, or we're just doing it, we are getting to learn for the better. As the career mentioned, there are some people who are in one career for a certain period and then go to another career after some time. For example, the retirement plans. When you find yourself in a place whereby you're not aligned, or your career is not aligned with your values, with the thing that you wanted, it's okay, first of all, to feel bad, to feel demoralized, to feel misaligned, to feel so many emotions at that point. Even in terms of toxic work environment, there are some times that maybe your career is not the problem, but the environment is the problem. So identify, what actually in this career am I misaligned with? Abdishukri had talked about finding those 30 minutes that you like in your work time. Finding those 30 minutes and concentrating on it. What makes you like that 30 minutes? What makes you or drives you or gives you relief in that 30 minutes? Is it the fact that you're talking to people? Is it the fact that you're doing reports? Is it the fact that you're talking or you're having meetings? Is it that you are formulating and making a project? So when you find yourself in that position and you have identified what exactly do I like about this 30 minutes, it helps you identify the career choices that you have. Don't feel bad in going to a career counselor. As old as you are or as young as you are, even if you're exploring, a career counselor is someone who will help you identify the careers. There's always a worksheet, which we will also share, just a small self-assessment, whereby you can also look at and ask yourself, does this career suit me? Is there pros and cons within this career? You might find that you like working in projects and you are doing monitoring and evaluating, but maybe you're not supposed to be in monitoring and evaluating careers. You must be in project management. So when you look at such situations, it will help you identify what part of this 30 minutes that I've liked am I going to venture in. And then coming back to the tips that you can use, if your career is not something that you like, it's maybe 8 or 10 hours in your day, what about the rest of the 24 hours? What are you doing with it? Are you formulating a plan of getting out of that career into a career that you like? Are you making yourself at a position whereby you can progress, or are you stuck within that career? So first tip, identify which part of your career do you like. The second tip, identify things that you can do using the rest of your time that will help you push you to the career that you want. It's always okay. People have learned how to live after 40, after 50, after 60. It doesn't mean just because you're in a place whereby your career is not aligning, you're going to be stuck there forever. It means it's time to start moving, time to change your course, time to do something different. So are you doing something different about it?
So before I add on what Munira has shared with us, I just wanted to share with you guys a story. There's a friend of mine who told me he was facilitating a training, and then to just open the training and, you know, like make people like engage in anything, he asked them two questions actually. First question was, what is interesting about you? And second question was, if today you are taken back to high school and you just finished your KCSE, which career will you like pursue? And the shocking part was, majority of the people who they were aged, they were 30s, 40s. Okay, did I just call 30s aged? So, majority of them had no idea what is interesting about them, and majority of them had no idea which career path they will have pursued. And that brings me back to the point of, do we really know who we are? Do we really know who we are? Before we talk about what we need or what we want or what we will pursue, do you know who you are? And in this age and day of 2024, where information is readily available, resources are readily available, there are numerous organizations and people out there who are trying to like make us better, make us grow, make us find out who we are, even ask ourselves at the real. Just a month ago, we facilitated a training where the first aspect of the training was self-awareness, getting to learn who you are. And these are free resources. This is not something that you pay for. This is just you committing your time, showing up, learning, coming with your book, a pen, learning, growing, researching, figuring out who you are. So if you don't know who you are, it's very difficult for you to figure out what you really want. So I will challenge you, go out there, research in the resources available, get connected to organizations like The Real, follow up and be there when trainings are available that are free resources, and, you know, get to understand who you are. And then that is the time now you can focus on getting to understand what career path do you want to pursue, you know, what are some of the things in your life that can bring you fulfillment. Having said that, I want us to transition into another conversation and talk about our own personal testimonials. Have you ever found ourselves in the wrong career choices? And how have we navigated ourselves out of that situation, or how are we dealing with it? If maybe we have not like went through it personally, do we know someone who did? Maybe a family member, a friend. I know clients are not, we're not supposed to share our clients' information, but maybe something that we feel comfortable sharing. And let me start with, should I start with Zakaria?
Okay, about career misalignment, I didn't wanted to say this when Abshukri put me on spot, but let me say for the purpose of benefiting the audience. For me, I ended up in doing Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. They say double math, and I majored in math and minored in physics. And actually, it was not my choice. It was government choice. From my early ages, from Form 2, my dream course was only to pursue a medical course. And fortunately, I got a medical degree scholarship from US. Then what happened? Unfortunately, as I was doing my undergraduate, when I enrolled myself in BSc of Science, a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, I was waiting. I went there. Actually, I happened to not do even enter faculty for a medical course in University of Nairobi. The only thing was like I actually used to enjoy math when I was in high school. I said, as I am waiting my dream course, let me enjoy my course also. So unfortunately, 1 year passed, the visa denied, there's nowhere else you can go. So it happened for me to stay there or to make another career transition. And you know how it feels bad when you waste a whole year. And to be honest, there are people who don't entertain with moving outside, especially family members. So there's no way you can tell right now, I don't want this career after a year. So the best way I could do is, and actually I went under a period of mental illness. And alhamdulillah, after that, after I came back, I remember the first person I shared was my mom. And after I told her, I don't like this. And two things she told, too late, son. You cannot tell your dad, sir, right now you will drop this course. So she told me, actually, you can get a spare time. Why can't you try something else? And that time, imagine, other than medical course, I didn't have any self-awareness with me. And I don't know why I liked medical course. I don't know, because of I'm a kind of person who want to do social work. So just because of the thing of the volunteering work sometimes in medical camp they do, I just used to enjoy even when I was in high school. So, and one of the things she told me, why can't you try something to do with talking to people? Because by then I was a firstborn, I used to advise my siblings. So what happened? Alhamdulillah, with the guidance of my mom, I happened to look for psychology because I realized she meant psychology actually. And actually I've been listening the ustad called Nu'man Ali Khan. Actually he became my mentor by then. He had an undergraduate psych, so most of the time I have seen him explaining some bit of ayat in a psychological perspective. It's like, oh, I like this. So, and I remember I'm researching about psychology for 3 months. After that, then I decided to do it. And I didn't drop my mathematics course. I said, let me do it together. And alhamdulillah, after a period of time, I happened to graduate together at the same time. So, this is what I can say. It's okay sometimes for you to feel that this is not what you wanted. And sometimes even you may end up in going to a certain course like medical course, and you may not even enjoy because it was your passion later. But sometimes when you go there, maybe you are not someone who can read a lot of. I can sit down for some hours and read. You are a kind of person who is very understandable, who gets concept very fast. He touches something and he leaves. And I remember one of my friends used to tell me, medicine is not hard. It's only that the time you have to get for you to read all those slides. So if you are not someone who is very organized and can be comfortable in reading, maybe you cannot be making it in that course or in another course, or let's say in law, or let's say in social sciences. So what I would advise you is, if you cannot drop and you feel that you cannot explain your guidance or your parents, can you try to do even a certification of what you wanted to do? Even a certificate. Let's say you wanted to do law and you end up to be in a Bachelor of Arts. So what you can do right now is like even enroll yourself with a diploma of law. As you pursue, you even feel fulfilled in your career. This one you are doing, and there's a kind of fulfillment or happiness you will get when you are pursuing both of them. And actually, you cannot explain that one until you experience it. So that's what I will say.
As for me, it's quite funny how I've seen a bit of similarity with Zakaria.
Okay.
We've never talked about it before, but I started with, I had a passion of medicine when I was young. I used to like becoming a pediatrician. I admired becoming children and, helping them out and all. But I don't know where it just went different in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up not having the grade that I wanted. So with sitting down with the family and, wanting to go into medicine, I was told, you know what, that grade, as much as it was a good grade, it was a grade whereby it was okay, could go into university, but I'm paying more, you see. So my dad was like, do another thing. And our family tradition is when you finish high school, go into an Islamic university or memorize the Quran if you've not memorized. So I ended up going into Islamic university, learning about the deen. In between, I used to ask myself questions like, is this what I want to do? I went into a university where I was supposed to spend the next 4 years in. I contemplated a lot. Yes, I'm learning the deen. I want to know about Allah. I want to know about what the Prophet ﷺ had said. I want to learn about my religion. But after 4 years, you know, there's a pressure when you're in 20.
Yeah.
That's always telling you in your early 20s. That's always telling you, you need to earn something. You need to do this, you know. And I had that even before I went into 20. So I used to ask myself, why, how can I get out of this? Or how can I continue my deen at the same time find something to do? So I started with, I had a passion of 3 careers, and I had a friend who was also as confused as me. Alhamdulillah, we share also name, and we're best friends up until now. So she told me, why don't we do a personality test and then get to know the career choices that we have? And we did a personality test. And the career choices that I had was either nursing, psychology, all that. And I was like, psychology sounds interesting. It's something that I really want to do. I was also a listener, a person who I will talk to everyone and be there for them. So I went into Islamic Online University, which is right now known as Open Universities, International Open University of Dr. Bilal Phillips. Took the Islamic course, did 1 year. Alhamdulillah, I had the best or the privilege of meeting one lady that I really admire right now as a psychologist. She's known as Dr. Aisha Utz. Allah yarhamha, she died in the COVID-19 pandemic. So I used to exchange emails with her sometimes, just asking her questions, wake up 4 a.m. to attend her class or even other classes. And I realized that was the passion that I had. But the problem now came, as much as I'm studying psychology and I'm studying it in Open University and I'm loving the subject and I'm loving the content that I'm getting, am I able to sit with a client? How will I be able to console or be there for a client? So it gave me the urge of going into looking for psychology courses within the area of Nairobi. And I consulted other psychologists who, alhamdulillah, had the privilege of meeting and working with at that time. So I asked them some questions. They became my mentors, not in a contracted way, but a support system. So I asked them, can I go into degree? I had enrolled in the degree. My father didn't know. Psychology was kind of like that kawalan, you know?
Yeah.
That kawalan. But alhamdulillah, he asked me questions and I was like, Abba, I want to do this. And my father, alhamdulillah, was a very supportive person. Allah yarhamu. He was a very supportive person. So I told him, Abba, I want this and I'll stick to it. And he was like, okay, I'll give you 1 year or 2 years to decide on it. So that 1 year, 2 years, went, enrolled in USIU, wanted to start the degree, went to other clinical psychologists, asked them questions, and then they told me, in Kenya, if you want the practice, you need to start with the diploma. And I was like, okay, that's nice. Because degree in psychology takes up to 4 years.
Yeah.
And if you do the diploma, it's 2 years, and then the degree, you can finish it with 2 years. So it's like the same span. 2 years of degree, 2 years of diploma. So I did that and I started with the diploma. While I was doing the attachment, alhamdulillah, an organization that I was working with approached me and they were like, can we have your services as a Somali psychologist?
Okay.
And that's how I started. In between, while I was working, I mentioned that I'm also in real estate. My parents have a background of business. They're both business people. So I will always, as much as I'm working as a psychologist, also be in bits of real estate. So, and then business. So it happened that companies formed from one of our family members, and I joined in, started working as a sales and marketing. Thrived in it, alhamdulillah, for a bit. Realized a lot. I liked research while I was doing that. So now where I am based is mostly on research basis. So while I was doing that, I realized the things that I liked in between, and The moment that I had transitioned to another company or going back to psychology, I came back to the same thing. And alhamdulillah, as much as I was doing real estate, I will also see my clients on the side. So it was always a balance, never one thing. But as I grow right now, I kind of realize the parts that I want. Being a female, one thing that we are always reminded of is the biological clock. You know, you have to do this. How long will it take you? What about your kids? Psychology is one of the careers that I know. After getting my master's license, I can work at home. At the same time, I can also see people. Alhamdulillah, for the real, we also have the ability to also work flexibly,
Yes.
which is much better than other people and organizations or other career choices. So as much as as a female, I have the biological clock reminders, and it's the society and everyone. One thing I will always look at and tell even my younger self is thank you. Thank you for, first of all, choosing what you wanted. The biological clock is there, yes, but who's the owner of the biological clock? That's Allah, right? So why not leave things to Allah, the biological clock and everything, being able to also pursue your career. At the same time, when it comes time to be able, you'll find a way. That's one thing I always know is you'll always find a way to balance your life. So find yourself, your passion, follow that passion, get a flow, then see how you can have a balance in there.
So for me, when I finished high school, I will say I did not had much of an awareness of who I was. So I was operating from the point of what is expected, what I thought is expected of me to do. So I performed in my high school and I thought what is expected of me to do is medicine. Not because I wanted it, not because I thought about it. I just thought that's what's expected of me to do. The beauty part is, because medicine will not have been my cup of tea, the beauty part was I did not secure the government scholarship, and neither did I also failed to secure any other scholarship. So, and my parents could not afford to take me through the regular medicine program. So now the other option left was, what is number 2? And I remember I consulted my elder brother, and he mentioned, what do you want to, he asked me actually, what do you want to do? And I remember I said, maybe I don't mind doing ACCA, and what was the other course? There was another course that was being offered at Nairobi University. I will remember, then I'll share, no problem. And then I remember he asked me, like, do you want to work outside the country? I was like, no, I want to work local. So it's like, why ACCA when you can do CPA? So I was like, okay, yeah, let me do CPA. And yeah, that's how I ended up doing CPA. And the main reason as to why I did CPA at that point was because I knew through seeing what my brother went through that I could secure a job very fast. I did my CPA, lucky enough, I secured the job. And I thought now what is expected of me to do next was to pursue a degree in finance. That's what I did, got a job in the finance sector, worked in one of the national humanitarian organizations, in the finance department, but I was lucky enough to get some opportunities to go to the field and interact with the community. And that did something to me. When I interacted with the community, there's that level of feeling, there's just something that in me that gets sparkled. And I was like, why do I feel like this when I'm interacting with people compared to when I'm just sitting back in the office working on the computer? And that is actually the first point of me trying to think about of, am I in the right career? Do I want to retire in this career line? So this is back around 2017, 16. 2018, I got very confused, quitted my job. I thought what I wanted to do was business. Went into the business world, started one business, failed in it, started another one, failed in it, started a third one, failed in it. 2018 was actually like, what is it called? What do this young generation call it? Character development. 2018 gave me the perfect character development, which was a good thing. I am actually very lucky that I went through that, because that is actually the time I realized I want to do psychology. I don't just want to do psychology because I love it, but I'm gifted in it. I'm an active listener, I'm an empath. As much as I had no much information on what psychology is, I knew I had the quality of who a psychologist is. Now that I know what is the quality of being a psychologist, I had these qualities. It's an inborn thing. It's something that is a gift God gifted me. And that's how I went and thought about, like, the course I want to do is actually psychology. I actually used to call myself, with my friends, unprofessional, unqualified, undocumented psychologist, because I always used to listen to my friends, my family members, anybody who has an issue, they used to come to me. And even in high school, anybody who has an issue used to come to me, and they consult, they talk to me. At some point I used to think, like, why do people come to me? And I realized, not because I had the answers, not because I was experienced, just because I could give them a listening ear without being judgmental.
Wow.
I only offered them the space, the safe space, and the listening ear. And that's why people gravitated towards coming to me whenever they had issues. But guess what, again? This is 2018. I've already invested in the finance career. I've already invested in the investment career. I have done my master's in it. I have done my CPS. I have done my degree. And self-sabotage came in. I started feeling of, it's too late for me to go back to school. It's too late for me to start over. What will people think? And I think I had some level of negative attitude toward what psychology is and what it stands for. So I kept invalidating myself.
Wow.
No. The moment it comes in, I'm like, no. We are not thinking about it. We are not going back to school. This is what I did. Investment is what I did. Finance is what I did. This is what I know. This is what I excel in. And this is what I will focus on. It kept coming back. For 2 years, 2018, 2019, I kept avoiding that inner thought or inner conversation. Every time it comes across, I'll invalidate it. Every time it comes across, I'll invalidate it. So in 2020, I started my therapy journey. I started seeing my therapist in 2020. So through seeing the therapist, you start, I'm not even dealing with career. Career is not even one of the things that I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with other issues. So one of the things that you start now addressing is something like self-sabotage, and you get to understand who you are and what you really enjoy, who I am as a person and everything. So now slowly I started gaining the courage of saying, you know what, it's not too late for me to go back to school and pursue a career that I like, even if it's just for myself, even if I will not practice or start working as a psychologist, just for myself, just for my own survival, just for my own personal growth, I'll go back to school and do psychology. But again, still, there's that just inner thought that just questions, are you really sure? And what I did was, I said, let me go back to school, do a certificate, a short course certificate. If through this certificate course I get to enjoy what I'm learning, then that is an indication that me going back to school and pursuing a career in psychology is what I really want. And that's what I did. I went back to school, pursued the certificate course. Hey, I enjoyed that class. It was an online class. Where do you see you come to a class and the lecturer, but the time the lecturer welcomes you guys, the first thing she asks, or the first thing he asks is, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Like it's something else. I just felt home. I felt home. I enjoyed everything I was learning, every bit of it.
Wow.
And that's how I knew, that's how I validated myself, that this is the course I would love to pursue. Thank God I did. I pursued that course. I'm doing my master's in clinical psychology, and it's not ending here. This is my second master's, and it will not end here. Most likely I'll go and pursue a still psychology related course in the PhD. So, and that marks the end of our conversation. If you haven't picked anything from this conversation, I would want you to just focus on our testimonials and get to understand that it's okay. It's okay for you to be where you are today. Actually, where you are today is where you are meant to be. When you're in that confused stage, when you're in that stage of what you don't know what is next, or you're feeling stuck, trust you me, they have a role they're playing in your life on what's to come next. Sometimes you touch the rock bottom to get to understand who you are actually and what you really want to pursue. And the other thing also I want to remind you guys is it's okay to have more than one career. Just because I started pursuing psychology does not mean I have thrown away my finance and investment career. It's really helping me as an entrepreneur, and it's really playing a big role on who I am today as a business owner. So it's okay to have more than one career choice. It's okay to start over. It's okay to still continue what you're doing, but still diversify in something new. And before I forget, there's a friend of mine. We did together. We were together in CPA, and then Juicy, I bumped into him at school. Hey, how are you? How you did it? And then I realized he's pursuing a course in engineering. And then I was interested. I was like, okay, wait. The last time we were together, you're doing CPA. How did we found ourselves here? And then he was like, CPA was for my father. That's what he told me. CPA was my father. CPA is what my father wanted me to do. What I did is I did the CPA. I finished it. Went back to school, did the course I wanted to do. So sometimes we come from families, or we come from backgrounds where people don't understand what we really want to do, or they don't even appreciate what we really want to do. So it's okay to do what they want you to do, work, get the money, go back to school, do what you want to do. It's okay to start over. It's okay to be confused. You can see all of us, none of us had like from the get-go knew who we are or what we wanted to do, and from 17 years old or 18 years old, we went into the career that we really wanted to do. Some of us started realigning ourselves and going back to school in our 30s. So it's okay to start over. Having said that, you all know our social media. If you don't, we are available in TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and LinkedIn and YouTube. I am sure you have a lot of unanswered questions. I am sure you have a lot of concerns. Just drop us a DM. If you want to book one of us for a session, career counseling session, or any other therapeutic session, feel free also. If you have any other question or any other topic that you will want us to focus on or address in the next conversation, feel free to drop them in the comment section or in our DM. Thank you.